Systematically recollecting is key to scoring in all science exams, especially in physics. Today we are going to study 3 important derivations in such a way that you will never forget them in the exam hall. I am Jason sir, your physics teacher, and this is LexNova channel. Today we have to study applications of Gauss theorem. Gauss theorem states that total flux is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge. We are going to use this equation for finding electric field in 3 situations. In all these 3 situations, we use 5 sequential steps, and the steps are, whenever you are applying Gauss theorem, we apply it over a Gaussian surface. So the first step is we imagine a Gaussian surface. The Gaussian surface will be different in different cases. And the second step is we are going to apply this theorem. So what we will do is we will find the total flux. So finding phi total is the second step. And the third step is we will find the total charge. So Q total. Finding Q total is the third step. And the fourth step is we found total flux and total charge. We apply that into the Gauss theorem equation. So that is Gauss theorem equation. We will apply all that we found. And the fifth step is we rewrite for E. Okay, these are the 5 sequential steps through which we are going to find out the electric field in different cases. Now we go for the first case. You may write it separately. And you need not write these steps, but remember this is the template on which we are going to find out electric field in all the cases. In the first application, you have an infinitely long wire. This wire is carrying charge. It is uniformly charged. How much charge is there? We do not know. For having an idea of that, what will usually be given is lambda. Lambda is linear charge density. Linear charge density means how much charge will be there in 1 meter of this wire. That is given as lambda, linear charge density. And you have to find the electric field at a point somewhere here. So this is the question. I hope you understood. Now what we will do is, for finding the electric field at this point, we will go as per these 5 steps. So the first step is we will imagine an appropriate Gaussian surface that you have to write in the exam also. See, this is what we imagine. We take a cylindrical Gaussian surface like this. The length of this cylinder is L and the radius is R, and that R is the distance of the wire to the point. So how to specify Gaussian surface? This is how we specify it. Imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface with that point on its curved surface as in the figure. Okay, so the figure is very important in derivations. Now the second step is you have to find the total flux through this Gaussian surface. So for finding the total flux, the electric field from this wire is actually pointing down like this, and it is radially outwards from the wire. So this is the direction of electric field, and this itself is the direction of area vector S. And I am going to this is E we are going to find out. S, you know that S. What is, how much is S? If you cut open the cylinder, you will get a rectangle with length L and breadth equal to 2 pi r. So the area will be 2 pi r into L. As these E and S are in the same direction, theta is equal to 0 and phi is equal to E dot S. I am not writing the formula. E dot S is equal to E into 2 pi RL into cos 0, that is 1. So you got the flux through this curved surface. And I am going to find the flux through this side faces. And you see on the side face, electric field is in this direction. Area vector is to that side. So theta will be equal to 90 and flux will be equal to 0. Similar is the case here also. Flux is equal to 0. I wrote important things on the side of the figure. Carefully study that. And you need the total flux. Total flux is this plus this plus this. So that will be equal to, you have to write it as a next step. That will be equal to E into 2 pi RL. That is the total flux. And the, no, I wrote it in the wrong place. It should come here. E into 2 pi RL. I have to write the charge over here. And how much is the total charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface? 1 meter has a charge of lambda. So L meter will have a charge of lambda into L. Now I am going to apply these data into the Gauss theorem equation, and that is the fourth step. You write the Gauss theorem equation, this one, and below that you may write E into 2 pi RL is equal to lambda into L divided by epsilon 0. So L cancels out, meaning that the length of the Gaussian surface you imagined and E are of course not related. So you can rewrite for E as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into 2 lambda divided by R. I specifically wrote 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 because that factor is there on all the electric field equations. That gives us ease for calculation also. So I wrote it like this. And remember, when you get equations of this kind, you should understand that the electric field depends on the linear charge density and the distance. You know, in all the previous cases, in the case of dipole, if you recollect, electric field actually, in the case of dipoles, electric field is proportional to 1 by r cube. Okay. Here you see, this is the dipole case. Here E is proportional to 1 by r. And point charges, if you can recollect, E proportional to 1 by r square. So those things can also be asked in the exam. So I hope this completes our first derivation. So this is the template. So I am going to erase this, but I will retain the template here. The next application we are going to study has some practical significance. We will be using this in our next chapter. Okay. So in that example, you have a copper sheet or an aluminum sheet, a conducting sheet like this. Okay, you have a conducting sheet, charge is given to that. It is charged. How much charge is given to that? For having an understanding of that, what is given is sigma. We say, as it is positive charge, we say plus sigma. Sigma is surface charge density. Surface charge density means in 1 meter square of this sheet, if you take 1 meter square of that sheet, how much charge is there? That is sigma. Okay. So this is the situation we are trying to picturize there. You have a conducting sheet like this, it is drawn over there, and if you give charge to this, it produces electric field on both the sides. So how much is the electric field at some point here? Say at this point. That is our task. And for finding that electric field, we are going to use the same 5 steps again. See how we are doing that. Here also we use or we imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface. See, it goes like this. We imagine the surface in such a way that on the side of that this point appears, and you have a cylindrical surface here. On the cut face or the side face you have this point, and this is that Gaussian surface touching the sheet and piercing that sheet. Okay, this Gaussian surface will pierce this and goes to the other side like this. So the other side I am drawing using dotted lines, and in the exam you can write like this. Imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface as in the figure. Okay. Now we move on to the second step. Here the electric field is in this direction. The side face, if you take the surface vector, area vector is also in that direction. So theta will be equal to 0. So phi will be equal to E into S into cos 0 is 1. So phi is equal to E into S. And the side faces, if you take, say I am taking it here, the electric field is in this direction. Okay. The area vector is in this direction. So theta is equal to 0. So phi is also equal to 0. And on this side, you will have the same flux, phi equal to E into S. So the total flux will be 2 into E into S. You should write along with me. I hope you understood. This side curved face, no flux. On both the n faces, you have flux which is added up. Now to the total charge. The third step, total charge. Total charge is, this is how the Gaussian surface pierces the sheet. So Gaussian surface actually includes this much of area. That area is S. And in that S area, how much charge is there? In 1 meter square, this much charge was there. So the charge in Gaussian surface will be sigma into S. So that step is over. Now to the Gauss theorem equation. You have to write the Gauss theorem equation here. So I am writing it here. You write it again. I am substituting. So the total flux will be 2 into ES is equal to sigma into S. S cancels. That we were divided by epsilon 0, of course. And S cancelled. That we were expecting, because the side area and electric field will not be related. So electric field E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0. Now if you try to analyze this equation, the electric field depends on sigma, how much charge you gave to this sheet. And another very interesting factor is electric field does not have a distance factor there. So does it mean that if you charge this sheet, the electric field on the sides, see on both the sides, electric field on both the sides, they don't reduce in intensity as we go away? No. This equation can be applied only for points closer to the sheet. As you go away, of course, the intensity decreases, and we are not studying about that. This equation, remember, is applicable only for points closer to the sheet. the electric field produced by this sheet is important for us. So we are picturizing it again. So you have a copper sheet on which you are giving plus sigma charge. So on this side you have electric field in that direction. Its magnitude is E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0 or half of sigma by epsilon 0. To this side also the electric field is half of sigma by epsilon 0. In case if the charge density is negative, how will that situation be different? You will have electric field of the same magnitude, but the charge will be in the opposite direction. Okay, that also you may draw in your notebook. And the second situation is, you see this. Imagine you have two sheets. You are holding it near like this. You must be holding it very near, in fact very close. The reason is then only you can apply these equations. Suppose you have two sheets like this. So 1, 2. Two sheets are drawn. This have a plus sigma. Imagine this also has plus sigma. Then how will be the electric field between the sheets and on the sides of the sheet? That's what we are going to see. On the sides of the sheet, if you imagine, this produces half sigma by epsilon 0 in this direction. This also produces the same. So the electric field will be in that direction. They add up. So half sigma by epsilon 0 by this and half sigma by epsilon 0 by this. So the total will be sigma by epsilon 0. And this side also you will have E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. And in between the sheets, the region in between the sheets, this produces electric field in that direction and this produces electric field in this direction. So naturally electric field will be 0. And if you have a negative charge on both these sheets, the same situation is repeated. You repeat that in your notebook. Only thing is the direction also will be reversed. Okay. And now we come to an important third situation. This is very important. Okay. You have one sheet which is given a charge density plus sigma, and you have another sheet which is given a charge density minus sigma. Then what happens is, this produces here an electric field in this direction. This second sheet produces an electric field in that direction. So electric field in the outer region will be 0. And here also the same, electric field will be 0. And inside this produces half of sigma by epsilon 0 to that side. This also produces the same amount of electric field. So the total electric field will be sigma by epsilon 0. So this is an important and interesting case. If you have two sheets with charge densities, they produce an electric field in the region between the sheets. Now this is the idea we use for producing electric field in specific areas in our laboratory. Or this is the methodology used by J.J. Thomson for doing his E by M experiment. Now, that means you can produce electric field in some specific area. What you have to do is, you buy two copper sheets. Okay, you fix it on a insulated stand like this, and then you give charge. How to give charge? What you have to do is, you simply connect a battery to that. You will get an electric field in between. Now the question is, how much electric field will be produced actually depends on this equation. And how it is related to the battery, that we will be studying in the next chapter, and we will make electric field in the next chapter This situation is called a capacitor situation. That also we will study in detail in the next chapter. Now we go for the third application. In third application, you will be given a copper shell. Shell means something hollow inside. So the situation is something like this. You have a copper ball. Okay, its radius is capital R. It is given a charge. It is charged. When you are drawing charge on that, don't forget to draw it symmetrically, because that is how it actually appears. So the charge on it is Q. Now again, for finding electric field, we use the same template. You have to find electric field at some outside point here, which is at a distance small r away from the center of this charged sphere. Now the first step is you have to imagine an appropriate Gaussian surface. Here the Gaussian surface we imagine is like this. Okay, in the exam you can write as imagine a Gaussian surface as in the figure, or imagine a Gaussian surface with the point on its surface and concentric to the sphere. It should be concentric, then only the symmetry comes in. So the first step is over. Now to the second step, you have to find the total flux through this Gaussian surface. Okay, I take the point here to make it easy. That side I cannot write much. So the electric field will be in this direction. If it is here, it is in that direction. So this is the direction of electric field. And the direction of area vector is also like this, S. And S will be equal to 4 pi small r square. This distance. This is the Gaussian surface. So theta will be equal to 0. So flux will be equal to E into 4 pi r square. Okay, so total flux will be, I am writing it over here, E into 4 pi r square. And the third step, the total charge. This Gaussian surface encloses the whole charge on the shell. So it is Q. Now I have to apply write the Gauss theorem equation here and apply what all things I got there. Okay, the equation you may write, and the substitution E into 4 pi r square is equal to Q divided by epsilon 0. So that is E is equal to, we write it in the usual form, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q divided by r square. This equation you are familiar with. This is the equation we got for the electric field due to a point charge. So this is what we said in one previous video. The electric field due to a charged shell is as good as the electric field due to a point charge located in the center. So they have identical electric field if this point is outside the shell. And also you understand electric field depends on the charge, and it is inversely proportional to the square of that distance. Thank you. And in some cases, in the exam, you may get a different question as well. If the point is not outside the shell, sometimes the point can be on the shell. So the questions can come that way also. In that case, the only difference is the radius and this Gaussian surface radius are equal. So you go as per the same template. Here it will be capital R square. Here it is the same. So the substitution step, in the substitution step you will have capital R square here. So the equation for electric field will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into q divided by capital R square. And in case if the point is inside the shell, that again is very important and interesting. If in case if it is inside the shell, up to this it is the same, but the total charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is 0. So here you will have 0 and you will get E is equal to 0 there. That means this charged shell has no electric field inside. So these three situations are totally different and you should not confuse between them. Here the interesting thing we learned is there is no electric field inside a charged shell. You know, this idea is used for different purposes. Like outside you have electric field and this is a conducting material. Inside there is no electric field. So if you keep a conducting enclosure inside an electric field, there will be no electric field inside that enclosure. This is called electrostatic shielding. You are shielding the electric field from its effects by keeping something, whatever you want to protect can be kept inside a conducting enclosure. So that is electrostatic shielding, and such enclosures are called Faraday cages. Faraday cages. That is for protecting something from electric field. Okay. Suppose you have a very precious watch which should not be exposed to the electric field and you are going near a charged conductor or you are going to charge it. Where you will keep your precious watch? You can keep the watch inside this shell and go on charging it. No problem. I hope that's an interesting thing. So with that we are completing all the three applications of Gauss theorem using the same template. I hope it is easy for you to study and recollect in the exam hall. Now you have two more example questions to do, that is example 111 and 112. You study that. If you have any difficulty in solving them, please let me know through the WhatsApp number. With this we are completing our first chapter. Now I have few more things to tell you. See, for scoring in the exam, you have to do two things importantly. First is you have to study all the key ideas of that chapter. The second is you have to answer many questions of that chapter. So this chapter having completed, what we will do is, I request you all to join the WhatsApp group. There I will give you, first I will give you a summary of this chapter which you have to by heart. The second is I will give you a set of questions, lot of questions. I will collect or compile questions from all the previous exams, CBSE board, every board I will compile, and those questions will be given to you. What you have to do is, you have to answer all those questions, and if you have any confusion or doubt regarding them, again you can contact in the WhatsApp group. So I request you all to be member of the WhatsApp group whose link is given below. Be an active learner. No, we say these classes will help you to score CENTEM, but there is no shortcut for scoring CENTEM in any exam, not only in physics. You have to do the work. I hope none of you are here expecting some trick for CENTEM. No, there is no trick other than hard work and focused studying. Now I can help you with all those things. What you have to do is, if you are interested in scoring high, you join the WhatsApp group. Be a serious learner. I wish all the best luck to all of you. Thank you.